This is Bryce Anthony.
And this is Boomer Payne of the Sons of Steel.
It's the one, the only manager of champions, Joey Nugs. You know me, right?
This is Kendall Slayer, and you're listening to the CIW Report, baby.
The views and opinions heard on the CIW Report does not reflect the views and the opinions of the members of the show. It's time for the Carolina Independent Wrestling Report. Heard each Monday right here on Spreaker.com from 7 until 8 p.m. with all the happenings that's going on inside the world of Carolina Independent Wrestling. And now, the Carolina Independent Wrestling Report. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the CIW Report, heard right here on Spreaker.com. Congratulations going out to HCW Wrestling in Forest City, North Carolina for having a great show. Fans were pleased, a lot of action. It was a great time. As promised last week, a big announcement coming from CIW Report. Unfortunately, the CIW Report is going to have to come to an end, and that is just because we have a curiosity of wanting to know more about the wrestlers that are throughout the United States and the world. So coming up soon, there will be another show, and it will be called Inside the Indies. We are definitely looking forward to bringing everybody throughout the world stories about some of the great talent that's going on in the Indies today. Carolina Independent Wrestling Report will be right back, right after this.
PWX Wrestling returns to Winston-Salem, North Carolina at Siggy, February 22nd, 2015 with Cedric Alexander, Caleb Conner, Country Jack, Worst Case Scenario, John Schuyler, Anthony Henry, and for the first time in North Carolina, the Young Bucks. Tickets available at pwxpro.com. It's PWX Wrestling. Live the experience.
Be listening later in the show for the PWX Word of the Week. Then locate their ticket page on their website at pwxpro.com and enter the code word for your chance to win a free ticket. 2 tickets per week.
This is the Overlord of the Wasteland, the Engineer of Combat, the Big Boss with the hot sauce, Ricky Regal.
This is Samantha Starr, the Perfect Knockout.
What's up, everyone? This is the Meatball himself, Tommy Capone. You're listening to the CIW Report right here on Spreaker.com.
This is Bryce Anthony, one half of the Sons of Steel. Make sure you check out Boomer Payne and myself in the Sons of Steel saga every Friday on Spreaker.com.
Welcome back to the CIW Report. I am joined tonight by one of the most entertaining wrestlers that I have ever had the privilege of working with. We are joined tonight by the one and only Superlaw.
Hello, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing great, sir. And look, I have been looking forward to this interview for quite some time. You have talked to me about, you got to come on the show, you got to come on the show. Well, now it is your turn.
Now is the day, isn't it?
Absolutely, sir. All right, so let's start out from the beginning. What is your first memory of professional wrestling?
My very first memory of professional wrestling is watching Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant, strut around the ring and all his flair and basically not doing a lot of anything, but the entire place going absolutely nuts. And his character, his charisma, everything about him, I immediately fell in love with wrestling as soon as I witnessed this guy. Loved him.
Is he the only one that made you want to become a wrestler, or is there other guys in there that you saw that you said, okay, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Well, from a childhood memory, I have Roddy McDaniels, obviously the Four Horsemen, Boogie, and the Mid-Atlantic Clique. That was prevalent during that time. That was my earliest memories of wrestling that really initially sparked my interest. And then came along the magic that is known as ECW, and from that point on, all the violence, the blood, the comedy, the laughter, everything. It was just everything that I'd been looking for. So basically, that's what got me into wanting to do this.
Was it the whole atmosphere of ECW, or was it one of those things to where you saw Chris Jericho coming through, you saw Cactus Jack there? Was there somebody there that made you want to do it, or was it just the whole presentation?
It was the show and everything. You'll hear me talk about that a lot. It was everything for the show, because you could sit and watch one of those shows and you could see Mikey Whipwreck come out, and you could laugh about it. You could see Public Enemy come out, and they were very entertaining and very brutal, you know. And then you could have all the hardcore. You had Steve Austin's interviews that were just brilliant at their time. You just had this whole complete package. So the answer would be is the complete package. And the show itself, I've never seen an entire, 2-3 hour show or a pay-per-view event that didn't just top everything that I, could ever want to witness in wrestling.
Let's jump back from ECW and go back into your younger years. What was your high school activities that you participated in?
Oh, dude, I was a band geek, total band geek. Here's a little bit of Superlaw trivia for you. Voted most talented in my graduating class there. Total music geek, total art geek. I did wrestle for 3 years in high school and was horrible at it, but I did wrestle. And I think, that initial spark there also, obviously carried something over into me wanting to do what I do today.
When and where did you go to training?
Okay. I trained with Dale Stepp, sweet man Dale Stepp. He had a little bitty shack out behind a Mexican restaurant here in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And I was a policeman at the time for 12, 13 years. And I would always go by there and see him training inside. And one day I just decided to stop in. And being a cop, being an adrenaline junkie, if you will, I saw things that were going on in there. I was like, I've got to try this out. And that's where it started. It was a chance for me to be an adrenaline junkie, to have my needs fulfilled.
So going back to that, what was the worst part of training for you?
Training for me and the others that were taking classes out there at the time, it was brutal. I honestly believe it. It was one of the last people that actually got brutalized in training. Talking like 97, 98. Those days had passed, but Dale was with this big guy that traveled with Sweet Hands and a bunch of others. He wasn't a real big name or anything, but he did wrestle in the circuit and everything. His training philosophy was just brutalize the living crap out of everybody and make sure that you learn the basics. That's what he taught us, the basics, how to perform properly. We would have nights where he would do nothing but drag out an old speaker and a microphone, and you just cut promos all night. And then he would have a night where he'd break out the baby oil and he'd just chop you till you bled and then send you home. So it was always, it was calisthenics, it was exercise, it was drills over and over and over and over. It was rough. So I don't think that people get trained like that much anymore. And this was like, I trained for 2 days a week for 6 months before I ever even was able to even be part of a show. And then the parts were, minimal. I set up rings, I set up chairs, did the whole 9 yards like everybody does. And I was a little bit older than everybody because I didn't get into it till I was like 25 years old. It was just like you read about, with people talking about, maybe probably not as brutal as Anderson's camp or, like Ole would be on guys, but not near as brutal as that. But it was still very, very brutal.
With you talking about the brutality that you faced there in your training, you have been to some organizations that offer up training to the guys that are coming in now. What do you see is wrong with what's going on there?
The consistency of having a place where you have the same trainer and it's the basics and it's the drills over and over and over. So I quote Colt Cabana a lot. It's repetition, even repetition in your acts and how you perform in the ring, repetition of your moves, and repetition of practicing those moves makes it become muscle memory. And it's just, a lot of guys that I see today aren't being able to train on a consistent basis. You don't get the 2 or 3 times a week training in. It's maybe once or twice a month. I question the ability to retain knowledge and to retain the skills that are learned in a span like that. I think that it should be, very structured and have an outline to it, have a purpose, a goal.
You have gone through training. You were getting ready for your first match. And yes. This is where you go out in front of the crowd. I'm sure that was very nerve-wracking. But who was your first opponent? My very first opponent was Haystack Calhoun Jr. Haystack Calhoun Jr. went about 400 pounds, 350, somewhere around there. He was a big dude. Wrestled barefooted, and he never washed his feet. I don't think he could reach his feet. So I was in fear of the toe, getting a toe in my mouth or something, and that happened. And went out there for the first match, and actually serial killer Chris Roper assisted me at ringside, and
The match lasted about 5 or 6 minutes, and then Haystack sat on me and cracked 2 ribs, and I thought that this was that it was over, because I'd never felt a pain like that in the ring, and I didn't know how to react. But then I reverted back to my training, knowing that, the brutality through the training, knowing that, this stings, but work through it, and that's what I signed up to do. I signed up to be a performer and do the job, because that's what I'd signed up for. My job was to entertain people. Their job was to, be entertained, and I don't want to let nobody down. So I worked through it, healed up, and got back in the ring.
On a scale of 1 to 10, rate that match for me.
2.
A 2.
It was awful.
So,
it was so awful. It was so bad.
What was bad about it?
Well, it was just that initial. I say it was bad because I look back on it now, and I'm used to having really good matches. I always strive now to have match of the night, no matter what, no matter where I'm at, and consistently have had the top matches of the night. But when I look back at that match, it was like, my steps were off. It was sloppy. I didn't have the presence that I wanted to have. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know how to harness that yet. So in those early matches like that, developing your character was something that I felt like I should have learned more of before I really went out there and learning how to apply that character, as opposed to just going through the motions of what you've learned. But you're so nervous, when you go out there. And plus, did I mention the stinky toes? Yeah, I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was nasty, man. They were black. Yeah, it was horrible.
Okay. Well, with every negative, there's a positive. What was good about the match?
What was good about the match was that it opened me up to realizing that excitement, that the thrill, hearing the guys. Actually, I was booed then, and to realize that I'd entertained somebody, and it also learned me to ask somebody to wash their feet if they're going to wrestle barefoot. Against me, that's nasty.
With every negative, there's a positive. What was good about the match?
What was good about the match was that it opened me up to realizing that excitement, that the thrill, hearing the guys. Actually, I was booed then, and to realize that I'd entertained somebody, and it also learned me to ask somebody to wash their feet if they're going to wrestle barefoot. Against me, that's nasty.
We'll be right back with our featured interview on this week's Carolina Independent Wrestling Report right after this.
Previously on the Ninja Troll Digicast.
2 very different versions of the future collide this December in the 5-issue miniseries Star Trek Planet of the Apes.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Yes. Just had a nerdgasm.
It's all about love. The Ninja Troll Digicast.
With discussions on comic books, sci-fi, and all things in geek culture. This is the Ninja Troll Digicast. Join us each week right here on Spreaker.com.
Hi, I'm Boomer Esiason, and my son Gunnar has cystic fibrosis, a life-threatening disease affecting the lungs and digestive system. Each year, thousands of people participate in Great Strides. That's the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's national walk to raise vital funds for CF research. And right now, there's no cure for CF. But thanks to the many people who support Great Strides, we're closer than ever before. In Gunnar's lifetime, the median age of survival has increased nearly a decade because of advances in treatment and care. Your participation in Great Strides funds cutting-edge research. And right now, scientists are working on powerful new treatments that target the root cause of the disease, not just the symptoms. And as a father, I want my son and the 10 million Americans affected by cystic fibrosis to have every chance at a long, healthy future. Great Strides walks are happening in every state across the country. Please visit CFF.org and sign up today. And together, we can go the distance and find a cure.
Hi, this is Tim Dixon.
Hey, everybody, this is the Thoroughbred Kid Holiday. This is referee Ron Mills, and you're listening to the CIW Report.
Okay, so how long was you with that organization?
Oh, Lord, I was with that organization, man, at least 4 or 5 years. It was not the big BTW that exists now, not the big-time wrestling that exists now, but that was the moniker that they'd win under at the time, BTW, and it also teamed up with a company out of Tennessee, so they were running joint promotions.